Hello and welcome everyone to part 3 of our Colouralong. Today we will color some pinky petals. For those of you who are interested in my art supplies, I put some links in the description box. For example, for my pencil extenders that I always forget to use, but I love them. Really, I do. And they are suitable for Polychromos as well as for Prismacolors. And if you use the links down below, I get a little commission and you support my channel. So if you need anything and you want to support me, please use these links. Thank you! Okay, so I will show you the first two petals that I colored in real time, so you know exactly what I did, and the rest will be sped up. But whenever I changed colors or anything else, I will slow down the speed of the video and tell you what exactly I changed. So if you want to color along, you can do so. Otherwise, you can just relax, watch me coloring if you like that, and enjoy the process. So let's have fun and happy coloring. Seriously, it took me days to figure out how I wanted to color this flower. I couldn't decide on the colors I wanted to use. I couldn't decide how realistic it should look in the end. And I looked at dozens of reference photos before I started coloring, and first I thought I wanted to do it in a very realistic way, like with all these veins going through the petal and so on. But when I tried it on a test sheet, I realized that I'm not skilled enough to do it in a very realistic way, and I also didn't want to spend ages on this page, so I decided to do it in this semi-realistic way. I don't know if you want to call it like that, but I wanted to have like shadows and also highlights and all these wrinkles. And when I look at the petals now, I think it looks a little bit like fabric, but I really like it this way, and it wasn't too complicated to color. But maybe this explains why I was so uncertain when I colored this first petal, and this one took me like, I don't know, way too long. But it was getting easier and easier with every petal that I colored. As you can see, what I basically did was using all these lines that Maria gave us as an indicator for very dark spaces or for wrinkles in common. And then I tried to imagine where the sun would hit the petal. And what I also really liked to do was leaving a very light line at the edge of the petal, not everywhere, but on some spaces. I also saw that on some reference photos, and then it looks like the petal is a little bit curved and the sun only shines on the tip of the petal, and I really like that. At this point I became a little bit impatient and I decided not to do more layers but to blend all the colors with my Prismacolor white, and I think it worked very well, but you have to have some pigment on the paper to really blend the colors. If you have like completely white spaces and only some strokes, then it might look strange or it might not work very well. I think it looks very soft now and it saved me a lot of time, so I'm pretty happy with this result. Oh, and this might also be a good reminder of these pencil extenders that I mentioned in the beginning, because as you can see here, I forgot to use them, but later in my videos I used the pencil extender and it was way more convenient. So what I always do when I use Prismacolor white to blend my colors, I go in again with the darker colors or sometimes with all the colors to intensify the dark parts of the object. Because the Prismacolor white is very opaque and sometimes everything looks flat after I use it. So what I did here was using some orange at the base of the petal. I saw this at a few reference photos that I found, and I think it gives a certain glow to the flower, and I really love that. It's just a small thing, but I think it gives the flower a lot more depth and yeah, like a certain glow. And I highly recommend doing that. When I colored the petals on the right side of the flower, I had to come up with a color that I wanted to use for the shadows that all the other petals cast. And I tried different colors like blue and also some violets, but in the end I stayed with this pinkish dark red, and I really like it because it makes the flower very warm and also very vibrant. So yeah, the only thing that was very important for me was that it really looked like shadows and not only like the petals were darker in this space. So I decided to make a very harsh line between shadow and light part of the petal, and I think it was a very good decision. Yay! First ring of petals is done and it looks great. So, on to the second ring. When I colored the petals of this ring, I added a little bit of salmon because I want the flower to have a smooth gradient from pink to salmon. And from ring to ring, I use more salmon when coloring the petals. As I mentioned before, I will use more salmon in this ring now, and not only salmon, but I will also switch from fuchsia to rose carmine. It is a little bit more red, so the flower becomes more and more reddish or orangey towards the center. Yay, nearly done! And for this ring I even used some dark chrome yellow to make it even more orangey and warm. In this part of the video, I show you how I covered all the black lines, and you will also see a real-time part later. But to be honest, I would not recommend you to do that because it was really frustrating. This was also because I had no matching color for the darker space, so I had to go over the acrylic marker with my colored pencils, and it always came off. Like, okay, not always, but in some of the spaces it came off and off again, and I'm not sure if this is because of the paper, because the paper is a little bit more smooth than other papers that I use, or if it was my mistake, or maybe I was too heavy-handed on that day, I don't know. But to be honest, the flower already looked very nice before covering the lines, so I would recommend just leaving it like that. But if you are crazy enough or simply more skilled than me, I will show you all the acrylic markers that I use in the video, so you can try it if you want to. But to be honest, I regret it a little bit, although I think it looks nice in the end. So I show you here what I did. First, I covered the lines with Posca white because it is very opaque, and my acrylic markers from Artex are not as opaque as Posca, but they have very many different colors. So what I did was covering the black lines with Posca white, as I already said, and after that I go over with the right color or a matching color of my Artex acrylic markers. And whenever there was a part where I didn't have a matching color, I covered it with the most matching color and going over it with a colored pencil. What I can tell you is that if you only use Posca white and try to cover it, at least it is like this for me, it doesn't stay in place at all. So I'm not able to cover Posca white with my colored pencils, but it gets way easier when you put Artex acrylic markers on top, because they stay in place much better than Posca does. So that's it for the flowers. I hope you have a good day and you enjoyed this video. Thank you for watching, guys. See you next time. Bye!